Welcome to Prepping for the Studio. If you're a musician or musical artist that wants to learn more about what goes on, how to prepare, or how to make the most out of your studio session, you're in the right place. Hello, and welcome back to Prepping for the Studio, the podcast for musicians who want to learn more about the studio, what goes on, and how to make the most out of their time and money. I am Roy Silverstein, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Scheuble.
Howdy doody.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. It's hot outside.
Yeah, we're back into the 80s here in San Diego as we record this at Rarefied Recording, and that's how it goes. You can't complain.
We got AC in here, though.
Yeah,
it's
we're
very
fine.
nice in here.
We're fine. And today, we welcome back David Mead for a part 2 about drum prepping for
Hello.
studio.
How's it going?
How you doing, David?
It's very nice, thank you.
We loved you so much
Cool.
about the guitars, we just had to bring you back. As we said, we were going to do a part 2, and here you are. You're already here.
Here we are. Yeah.
We wasted no time.
Wasted no time. Yeah, I feel like I was just here. It was very nice. Yeah. Drums.
Yeah, we don't even need to introduce you this time because you just listened to the prior episode.
Mm-hmm.
You'll learn all about David. And you work a lot on guitars these days, but you are a drummer and you know a lot about drums.
Sure.
And working with drums and repairing drums and that kind of thing. So we're gonna.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I know through my own experience of like being a drummer, I suppose, and it's just, I feel like every time you go to record, you pick up a new trick, and then it's just kind of like you do that enough times, you're going to have a pretty healthy bag of tricks to pull from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'd say like most of my like recording and live experience is in drums, even though I'm a guitar tech. and it's nice. And I feel like I've heard like, it's kind of not uncommon for maybe that situation to happen. You ever heard of those amps, Dr. Z?
Yeah.
That guy's a drummer.
Okay.
And he says he kind of like, really kind of tuned in and dialed in what he was looking for in a guitar amp through the perspective of being a drummer, which I honestly kind of feel a bit of the same way. I can hear like things on stage coming out of my bandmates.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like I'm kind of just naturally pretty sensitive to that.
Yeah. I think drummers often become engineers too because
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the drums are just so important, and that's the thing that I always come back to. The drums have to be awesome in the studio.
Oh my God,
on your
yeah.
recording. If the drums suck, the whole thing sucks. Even if the guitars are awesome and the vocals are awesome, if the drums suck, it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
You don't agree?
Well, there's okay, here we go. So there's obviously on drums, there's very much an art to perfectly sucking. I mean,
yeah, okay.
This subject,
there's
subject's
always
been
room for the
exploited.
lo-fi
Yeah, totally.
on purpose. This is the intent, but
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that there is kind of like a magic chemistry of somebody playing who's a really insanely good guitar player playing with a drummer who literally just started. You know what I mean by that?
Right.
There's this insane drunken push and pull sort of thing that can happen. I've heard it. It's good.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would say like I've been playing kind of drums in bands for a while, and my first couple of recording experiences, they were harrowing, tough. Learning, oh my God, just...
Did you play to a click track?
Yes.
Was it
and
difficult?
I also wasn't very good.
Yeah.
That
is a learn skill.
a long time ago. So it was a full-on meltdown. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody at a restaurant just blowing all the orders, all the food's coming out wrong. That was me as a drummer at the very beginning. And I feel like it has to be.
Yeah, that's a rite of passage, I think.
Totally. It's the worst thing ever, and I don't know, sometimes maybe not everybody goes through that, but if you do, it's okay. And then you eventually just, if you keep with it through pure virtue of inevitability, you'll be able to kind of pick up enough tricks along the way to kind of eventually be good.
Right. Well, let me ask you some things about the drums themselves.
Yeah.
'Cause that's kind of one thing I want to get into, is just like we did with guitars. And I suppose you might start with the shells themselves.
Sure.
That was where I was going to go, at least. What can go wrong with the shell? What should one be looking at with their shells for optimizing?
That's a really
them?
good question. Okay, so in the 60s, like one of the huge drum makers, I think it was the Gretsch guy, if I'm not mistaken. He actually came forward and said, like, look, it doesn't really matter what you make the drums out of. It's more of like how you make them.
Okay.
It's more of like a bit of a construction of like method.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way, I feel like you really hear a lot of the method of the construction over materials. And that's not like completely true, of course. The wood does speak a lot, but the what you do with the wood really determines a lot. Like the bearing edge is very...
Yeah.
Have you ever heard on a guitar amp, the transformer is the heart of the amplifier? The bearing edge, I kind of feel, is the heart of the drum. Like that's the contact that the head is making.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at the drum, you want to take a look at that bearing edge. And I personally, just for me, I don't know, I really like the old Ludwig rounded bearing edge. I like that big.
Because there's different, I guess, types of construction of this edge.
Yeah.
So you're saying the rounded versus a more pointy one or something?
Yeah. You could basically summarize the world of bearing edges as rounded or more pointy. And just know that there's 15 stages in between that can each kind of deliver you, honestly, a night and day difference in feel, tone, volume.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I thought you were going to relate this back to the guitar and the nut and the saddle.
Yeah,
the
sure.
bridge.
Because you were saying all these points of contact, this is everything.
Totally. Okay, yeah, the bearing edge is very much the nut and saddle. It totally is. And so different drums by different manufacturers have, in my opinion, and first of all, I really should say everything I say on this is just my opinion, and whatever, take it or leave it. This is just, yeah. So each drum, I think, kind of has its corresponding drum head that works with it really well in the kind of the same way that, like, how I say, like, the guitar picks the strings. You know, the drum kind of picks the drum head.
Right.
And I'd say, like, you want to look at the bearing edge you have and then maybe do a little research and get the corresponding drum head.
But what also can be wrong with your bearing edge? Can there be issues with it?
It could be damaged, yeah, if it's not flat.
Right.
And so the way how you make the bearing edges, when I was living in Portland, I definitely more self-identified as a drummer back then.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of all over the place.
Right.
But there was a guy up there, his name was, was it Kirsch? Jeff Kirsch.
Okay.
And Portland during that time, I don't know what was going on, but it was very drummer, it was
drummer
like
Nirvana,
a colony of drummers.
Okay.
That's funny.
It was an infestation of drummers, actually.
Infestation.
And a lot of drummers, and very, like, all the drummers were very, like, into their vintage drums. And there was, like, Revival Drum Shop was kind of starting up there. It was, I would say, like, Portland was a bit, like, more on the cutting edge of being, like, kind of a pro drum city.
Okay.
Versus some other places that I've been, where, and that's just kind of how it goes. It was kind of like a concentration of, like, cool drums.
Yeah. Just happened
And
to be.
so this guy, Jeff Kirsch, he had a cool, big, perfectly flat table. And he did my bearing edges once. So you can take your drums to a drum tech, such as this guy, and they could put the shape of the bearing edge on any drum pretty much.
Flat.
And first thing you do is flat it.
Yeah.
And you have, like, a table. The way how you work on drums, it's on a drum. I think it's called a drum table, and it's perfectly flat.
Okay.
It's kind of like a surreally perfectly flat table.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah, it's cool. And so you put sandpaper on this perfectly flat table, and you rock the drum. You make the drum perfectly level.
Okay.
You check it. And so that is a thing. A lot of times you do get new drums straight out of the box, and you get them. And in the same way how if you go buy a brand new guitar, it's not uncommon to have it be taken to a tech, what I mean? There's people who take their drums, brand new drums from Gretsch or whatever, and bring them right to their drum tech. And the bones are there for maybe it to be, like, a really good thing, but the details...
Yeah.
I don't think they're really going to spend that time getting it so level the way...
Right. As long as it's within their tolerances internally, which might be plus or minus whatever, then it's good enough.
Not to say they won't sound great out of the box.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. I am not this preferential, personally.
Yeah.
I've had wonderful times of my life playing the most random backline kits that were absolutely so beat.
Right.
And it's so fun. So,
Well, what kind of problems would you hear with a bearing edge that's not flat enough?
Yeah, totally. So sometimes if you are tightening down the head, like across, you're doing your tuning pattern, if it's not flat, like one area is going to require a lot more torque.
Okay.
It's kind of going to contort the head. The head's not going to sit flat.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a drum where you're tightening one side and that side's kind of coming up all right, and then there's this one like floppy area can never really get out?
Yeah.
And usually that means that the bearing edge isn't making contact with the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't it also be like not perfectly round or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Like it's warped or something, or just wasn't
yeah.
made.
Yeah, it could be not. And so that's a very common thing. And I think to keep your drums in round, it's kind of not uncommon for people to store them without hardware on, or like, I'm going to take a rim off for whatever reason, which I do all the time to do like concert toms.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually a huge concert tom fan, believe it or not.
Cool.
And then this is my confession, a confession of a concert tom fan.
That's when you take the bottom head off.
That's where you take the bottom head off. Yeah. And for a long time, throughout the 70s, which are like, people hate on concert toms, and then they name 10 albums they love that was exclusively recorded with concert toms.
Right.
So there you go. But when you take like a bottom head off, that shell is not supported then, and it's kind of free to kind of go wherever it is. And if you take a shell, put it on its side, and just leave it on a floor, gravity is
it's a killer,
cruel mistress. And it'll totally just sink.
Yeah,
just kind of. It'll take the shape of whatever you put it on, so then that'll go out around.
Okay.
So I recommend storing your drums with the rims on.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Just keep that's what'll help
supports
keep it
the round shape.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
Right.
So those drum hoops are part of the system too, then. And what have you seen with those things that's gone wrong? Or
the drum hoop can also be out of round.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a thing. That is a thing. And then if your drum hoop which is out of round, is kind of pulling on a shell, that shell can then take that shape. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So it's maybe in an ideal world, you want to have a round shell and a round hoop. And that being said, you can get really great drum tones out of,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have a Ludwig kit, and literally it's almost... like the back head's pretty good, but the front head is seriously like an oval. You can see it, and it sounds so incredibly good.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people intentionally tune things in ways that you wouldn't read to be good, like making one of the lugs way off from the others.
Yeah.
And like,
totally.
Sounds great.
Right.
So, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like when I first started kind of getting into this world of drums, I maybe was kind of under the impression that you wanted everything to be like really tuned absolutely perfectly. And I really tried to kind of go down that rabbit hole of, okay, you're tuning the drums. And that is so much work. And when they say like some people who maybe did like music where they spent a month on the drum tones, that's kind of, I think, what they're talking about. They're really trying to get the best drum with the best pitch for this. And I would kind of say the epitome of that $1 million plus drum sound is kind of like Phil Collins. I feel like that's what he was doing in the 80s when he was...
They spent a lot of time in the 80s, right, Brian? On the drum sounds.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah. And that's kind of why they sound really, really... incredible, very intentional,
almost drum machine like, and sometimes maybe they were,
but he would really tune them to the song, just really like kind of go to the next level. And it's like that's a whole other ball game, of course.
And you can do that, it's up to you. What about lugs that are slipping? I've had that happen. What's up with that?
Yeah, there's a few little tricks to get those to sit in. There's like plumbing.
The tape?
There's the tape. Yeah.
Okay.
You could do the tape. What I do is I kind of paint the lug with a little bit of a Loctite.
Okay.
Which is LOC TIT.
Is that like a glue?
Yeah, it's like a very gentle, sticky kind of a epoxy type of thing. You wouldn't want to do that on maybe a super valuable old drum. I would maybe recommend maybe that tape a little bit. But if you could just give those threads a little bit of tackiness to kind of bind just a little bit, that can help.
Gotcha.
And then there are those like lug lock things.
Right.
I've never really used those.
Yeah, I've seen some drummers use them, but I guess it helps keep them from moving.
Yeah.
Lugs, when you're playing them, I guess you could accidentally make them
Totally
rattle out of place or something.
Yeah. And okay, and sometimes it's like with drums, it's like I have gone down the rabbit hole trying to domesticate feral drums that do not want to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the same way that I have gone down the rabbit hole trying to make a guitar that doesn't want to be like a good sounding guitar.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've had guitars where I was like, I will make this a good sounding guitar, and it just absolutely never did. And the same thing is kind of true for drums. And it's like, at the end of the day, I think like, you found the one where it totally works.
It's a personality.
Totally. Yeah. Sometimes like a snare, there's certain snares and it's just like, they just will not be in tune.
Yeah. It's going to be funky.
Yeah. We've all had that snare.
What about drum heads?
Yeah,
Considerations
okay.
of the different types. There's so many different ones.
So many different ones. Yeah. This is just my opinion. If you have old Ludwigs and Gretches, the old ones, like if you're teching a vintage kit, I really think Rimos. I think Rimos are really made for that like vintage bearing edge.
Okay. Huh.
And yeah, I don't know. I just think it works. I think if you put Evans and Aquarian and a few, I just feel like those are for way more of a modern sound.
Gotcha.
And you could mix and match any which way. They will sound great, but I do think like the drum kind of feels the most at home when it has the head that was like kind of designed with it in mind.
Right.
And much in the same way like guitar strings have changed over the years, like and drum heads have also changed a lot. The drum heads that you like got in the 60s that were made for those drums aren't really the drum heads that you totally get today, and they kind of do these like vintage reissue type of things, but but I suppose they're different. Okay, so Ludwigs, I would say go with Remo.
Okay. Any particular considerations of the different ones in their line?
I mean,
Ambassador,
the Emperor's an ambassador.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm kind of an Emperor person because I hit so hard and it's expensive. I
So
will just
Emperors are
blast
just
through
thicker?
a set of ambassadors. Yeah, so it goes. There's plies. So, and typically when you're recording, you want to use a thinner ply head.
Okay. Why is that?
That is a great question. The ply of the head, it kind of, if you picture the head when you hit it, it is, and kind of maybe slow motion down the image of you striking that drum head. And, you could almost kind of see that it's like when you're on a bed and you kind of take the bedspread and you kind of flick it, and it does that like wave pattern in a way, like it's doing that. And a thinner head is going to have a different wave pattern and fluctuation of a thicker head. And when you're recording, you're kind of looking for that really detailed, kind of beautiful single. It's almost maybe like a solid wood guitar sound versus a laminate wood kind of sound. The laminate is meant for strength and longevity.
Okay, yeah.
And the thinness is meant for. I love this subject. This is one of my favorites. Can we stay on drum heads for a second?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, so typically when you're recording, there's people who go kind of all the way down to a diplomat, which is the thinnest head.
Okay.
And they sound absolutely incredible and they don't last very long at all. It's kind of this forbidden fruit sort of drum head sort of thing. Ambassadors, I think like if you go into a studio and you do coated ambassadors all the way around, you'll probably do really nice. But Emperors can sound really good.
That's when you're a heavy hitter, you might need it so it lasts longer.
Yeah. And I think the drum head picking the drum, that kind of principle is, I think, really shown in the Vistalite, like the clear, the clear drums.
Yeah.
So I'm a Vistalite guy now because I'm in it, man. You go through a phase where it's your absolute favorite thing. And it's an incredible experience. It's really nice. So the Vistalite, if you put ambassadors and emperors on them, they're absolutely wild. They're wild. Too wild. It's an untamed Appaloosa horse that just bucks you off. It's insane.
Wow.
The pinstripe, which is a super thick. The pinstripe had its day in metal in the 80s. It's like kind of like the 80s kind of hair metal head.
Okay.
And if you put pinstripes on an old Ludwig, it kind of just sounds not a Vistalite, but like a Ringo style kit.
Right.
It just kind of sounds ridiculous. It's like hyper attack. It's two thick pieces of clear mylar with a layer of goo in the middle.
Wow,
It's very, very. It's just a very extra sort of drum head concept. Amazing on Vistalites.
Okay.
Amazing. You wouldn't even think to put another head on.
Wow.
Vistalites and pinstripes.
Wow.
That's, once again, this is just my opinion. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
There's so many ways to skin this cat.
Totally. Okay, so then Ludwig, go with Evans. If you have a pearl kit.
Evans or Remo?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Ludwig, go with Remo.
Yeah.
Old vintage. If you have vintage, go with Remo.
Okay.
If you have a more modern kit, pearl, which is a totally different approach to the whole drum game. And Pearl kind of undersizes their toms.
Okay.
This is what Pearl does. And so the head kind of stretches across it way more, almost kind of like you would picture kind of like an old gong. You can actually like see a little bit of space between the bearing edge and the rim where you're like, there's it's interesting. And those I think really kind of come alive with like Evans and Aquarian, kind of more some. So yeah, I think vintage, go with Remo.
Gotcha. And now you have the coated, you have the clear.
Yeah.
What's the difference here?
I've always liked coated. However, on the Vistalites, it's almost like sacrilege to put a coated head on
It's
a
supposed to be all clear.
drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pinstripes are clear.
Yeah, they're all available any which way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
What does the coated do to the sound versus the clear?
the coating is really thin, and it adds a nice weight to it, and it does
More
kind of
mass,
dampen it. Yeah,
dampening, and does it change
it does change the tone.
the tone? Because usually mass means I don't know, more low end and stuff like that.
Yeah. I do have some thoughts and opinions on the coat. I do think the coat is a little more of a psychological thing.
Okay.
I don't know, because I've definitely played snares with the clear head on it and been like, this sounds awesome. But then it's weird because I think mentally you want to see a snare with a coated head on it.
That's most typical.
It's weird and foreign to visually see. It feels strange and unnatural to see a snare with a clear head on it. But it'll sound really good. But I don't know. The coating, to me, it's a bit of just kind of like a preference.
You do kind of need it if you're going to use brushes and want to do the stir the soup thing.
Texture.
Stir
Yeah.
the soup.
Yeah. Stir the porridge.
Yeah.
Stir the
You
porridge.
need the coating for that.
Yeah.
But any more thoughts on your drum heads?
Yeah. I should walk back my coated is a preference statement just a little bit. I think, no, it does add a weight. It does.
Yeah.
But I do think, and to get the texture is huge. And I guess when the snare, or when the stick hits the coated head, there is kind of like a little bit of a striking a matchbook sort of quality to it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's coated versus if it's clear.
Yeah. It should change the sound coming back. Yeah.
Totally.
I'd imagine.
Yeah. It's two totally different sounds. Yeah. And everything sounds good.
Well,
You know
going
what I
back to the
mean?
guitars, and there's always room now for
Yeah.
what we thought was crap is actually cool in a certain context.
Right.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's just you've been putting the wrong kind of fuel in your car and you're like, oh, I have a bad car. And it's no, it would just needed the right type of fuel. It needs premium. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about tuning.
Sure.
It's a big subject, very difficult to learn how to do, I feel like. Probably just takes a lot of reps, I'd imagine.
It does. Yeah. You just have to do it so many times. And I think so much of why tuning drums is kind of has a bit of a learning curve on it is because no two drums are alike. There's so many. You have to listen to kind of each individual drum. There's not necessarily like a protocol where you can be like, tune this. Like, you have to kind of feel it out as you go along. And that's kind of where, okay, if you're tuning up a drum and it's not level, you're running into maybe some of those issues of what could kind of keep a drum from tuning smoothly.
Right. If the bearing edge is bad, if
the bearing edge is bad, which a lot of times they're not so great.
Right.
But yeah, so you put the head on, and what I do is I kind of make sure the head is kind of seated properly.
Yeah.
I clean the bearing edge.
Oh, okay. Clean the bearing edge. Yeah.
Clean the bearing edge. Make sure what you're putting the head on is a nice clean surface.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you want to be gentle with that bearing edge. That bearing edge is sensitive.
Right. That's where I'm sure you can get in trouble, is if you're being crazy with that thing being exposed and you nick it with something. I mean, now you just really...
I don't even like getting them wet, because it'll kind of... when you wet a piece of exposed wood, it'll kind of... what are those called? The little the fibers will kind of soak up and swell up for a second.
As you said in the guitar episode, you put water next to wood, it will drink it.
That's true. Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that bearing edge wants to drink that water. Drink itself sick, unfortunately. And the bearing edge is a sensitive kind of piece of the drum. Yeah. And you could damage the bearing edge when you hit the edge if you have a sloppy drummer.
Yeah, well, rim shots are done on purpose all the time.
Yeah.
Would that potentially damage the bearing?
I'm kind of talking about where somebody goes for the tom, they miss the middle of the tom completely and come down right in the edge. It's almost like just kind of kicking somebody in the back of the knee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And right on the edge, and sometimes you'll look at the bearing edge and you'll see like a huge chunk kind of taken out of it. And which, on my Vistalites, there is one. I think it was already there. But
so those things can be fixed. You take it to a drum tech, they can reshape
Totally. Typically what they do is they take it down beneath that damage and kind of make a new bearing edge down there, so the drum will be a little shorter.
Right. I guess it can only be done so many times before you lose too much.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, sometimes you'll...
It's like a hardwood floor. You can re-sand it a few
Sometimes
times.
you can look at a drum and you could see, you're like, okay, that is a little bit shorter. But and then that kind of can imply that drum's had some work done on it. And what's interesting about like drum techs is like it's such a different sort of culture versus guitar techs. And I've definitely kind of hung out kind of in both worlds. And it's like the difference between mechanics who work on diesel engines,
rough and gruff type versus more delicate, fine tuned.
The drum techs are the like roughnecks. They're like working on the oil derricks of the music world. You know, I feel like it's a little like everything's bigger. Yeah. If you've ever been into somebody's house that collects drums the way they collect guitars. Have you ever been in a house that literally has 60 drum sets in it? I have.
I have not.
It is a sight to behold, you know? Yeah. And drums get kind of naturally, they kind of get dirtier. They're greasier.
Yeah. Sometimes don't you oil sometimes oil the lugs and stuff like that? Yeah. Yeah. That's another way maybe to improve how they're behaving.
Yeah, after I'm done working on drums, sometimes I'll look like I've been working on the diesel engine. And then versus guitar, it's guitars are a little bit more of a fine kind of, everything's just kind of a little bit more micro. Some of the tools I have for guitars are the size of a toothpick, like a micro file the size of a toothpick, and it's on drums, everything's a little larger. Right. Yeah.
So back to tuning. You get the old head off, and you probably want new heads when you go in to record, wouldn't you say? Or is it pretty new?
Yeah, I mean, different strokes for different folks. Seriously, you know.
We talked about strings for guitars. Yeah, probably not brand new strings.
Yeah.
Right before you go in, but...
what I do when I'm about to go record, unless I have a set where I'm like, I'm loving the way that this is like feeling and sounding right now, I don't want to touch it. Typically what I'll do is like 2 or 3 days before. Okay. Yeah. And
so they get played a little bit, but
I'll change the heads and I'll play them, I'll break them in because they stretch dramatically.
I've seen people when they first put the head on, they kind of push it down? Is that part of?
I will get up on the drum
Stand
and
on it.
jump on it.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, I
Seen
will.
that a lot.
Really?
And yes.
Snare drums, especially.
Stand on the snare
Yeah.
drum?
Yeah, and so once again, I have a steel snare, and yeah, I'll get up on the snare. But if it's aluminum, if it's like an acrolite,
Yeah.
aluminum is a softer metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe standing is a little excessive.
Just push
Sometimes what I
hard.
do is I do the elbow.
Okay.
Give it
Little
a
wrestling
good-
move.
Yeah, totally. Just you want to like pile drive that head, but then you also don't want to do it in a way where you're distorting the head
Mhm.
and leaving big elbow craters
Right.
in it.
Yeah.
You know what I
don't
mean?
wanna make a pocket.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So,
Crater.
two hands straight down and just,
Big surface area, I guess. When you do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
if it's more of like a modern kit that's like has a really like thick shell or something and it feels like it could take it, I'll totally like straight up jump on that thing.
Wow.
But
Don't try this at home, kids.
yeah, feel it out.
Yeah.
Feel it out. I feel like the jumping on it is a little bit of a performative sort of flex.
Feels like.
Yeah.
The point is, though, to kind of really have it sit on the bearing edge nicely and also maybe get rid of some of the initial.
Yeah, the head will stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the head will stretch.
Yeah.
And then but I really feel like the huge stretching really comes through playing. So you do that, stretch it out and be like better to doom, let it put it through. Run that.
Yeah.
Let the dog out for a run. And then you'll come back and you'll be like, all right, I got it. And then invariably you'll be like, okay, no, wait, it slipped again.
Yeah.
But I feel like a drum head's usually kind of like settled in place, in my opinion, like 2 days after you first put it on.
I just feel like drums sound better the second day
Yeah, it's like a haircut.
after you've
It
done.
looks a little too short right when you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like
Yeah,
a
just
few
let it
days
sit.
later, you're like, oh, this is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2-3 days before your session, put the new heads on, get that head smushed down with some force,
Smushed, yeah.
smush it down, and then what do you put the lugs on? And you do the finger tight thing at first, or what's your
I do
what's
the
your
finger
approach?
tight. Yeah, I do the finger tight. Then you kind of smush.
Smush more.
You kind of creep up on it.
Okay.
So you do the finger tight all along the perimeter in the star pattern.
Okay. So
The way that I do that is kind of skip a lug every time.
Okay.
So you'll be like, I'm on lug 1, and then do the lug directly across from that, and then be like, okay, I'm on lug 3. Do the
Okay.
one directly across from that. And if you can keep that straight
Yeah.
throughout the entirety of the drum, which I rarely do.
yeah, whenever I've tried to do it, I lose track.
Yeah.
Where am I?
Yeah.
But that
I think there's
just makes it more even by doing it that way.
Totally. Yeah. I knew it. My old drum teacher was like, he had a Post-it note and he just put the Post-it note wherever he like just was.
Oh,
Okay.
that's great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think what you do is where you get it to where it has tone, volume, and overall just like a feeling of health, where every part of the drum sounds good, at least in some capacity. And then that's with nothing on it. After it sounds good like that, I think you then go into the dampening.
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. I think we'll talk about that
Sure.
later, but more about the tuning. So is the drum sitting on a stand? Is it on some surface when you're doing this? Where is the drum?
Yeah, I typically take the drum off the stand.
And put it on something.
Yeah,
So the bottom head is being muted while you're doing the top
yeah.
head?
See, that's interesting because if you put a drum on a table and try to tune it,
Yeah.
that bottom head's not going to be giving you like a direct representation,
Right.
Because it's
It's going to change once you take it off.
Totally.
Yeah.
and so yeah, I kind of hold it,
Okay. You let
kind
the
of hold it in
bottom
your
head.
hand like a kitten by the back of its neck. And then you hold it by the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
hold it by the rim
Okay.
when you're holding a drum.
So the bottom head can sing a little bit.
Yeah.
And then don't you try to get all the lugs kind of even, just the starting point?
Yeah, you try to get the lugs as even as you can.
Are you using tools for that? Any special
Drum keys.
Yeah, just okay.
Drum
Besides,
keys.
I mean, besides that,
Yeah.
there's the ones that measure the tension. There's the ones that measure
Oh my
the frequency.
God. No, those are so dumb. Sorry.
Hot takes.
Those, I don't understand what those are all about, because I think the amount of tension I've seen. Oh my God, I saw this one guy who was very much a drum kind of. There's no other way to put this. He was a bit of a drum snob.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna fire one shot on this podcast.
Well, no names.
This is it. Yeah. yeah, it's fine. This person will describe somebody that everybody knows. So
Sure.
everybody has a drum snob in your life.
Sure.
You need to have one. I am blessed to have 20 drum snobs in my life that if I say the wrong thing about a drum, I will just hear about it. It doesn't really happen so much with guitars. But oh my God, if you say the wrong thing about a drum, get ready.
Okay, I'm going to get a lot of emails.
Close the storm windows.
I feel like I'm going to get a lot of emails after this episode.
Honestly, this podcast is career suicide for both of us. I'm sorry, what we were talking about?
The tension.
Oh, yeah, the things that measure the tension or the
my God.
or the frequency.
Oh my God, yes. So he was like, watch this. I'm going to tune my drums without even listening to them. He wanted to do it all with the tension thing. At one point he had the tension thing and a ruler. He was measuring with a micro ruler the distance from the rim that he was at with each thing, and then he never touched them once, and he was like, hey guys, check this out, and he was like they were so insanely high. It was like listening to a piece of glass like across the drum. It was hilarious. I feel like those things, I feel like they're the level of sensitivity that you're going to need to use one of those. I feel like they're like, it wouldn't even go low enough.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So it ended up being that it tuned it way too high.
Way too high. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But and then there's the people who tune really orchestrally and do, like Jimmy Chamberlain is actually really good at this, really putting his 19 toms in the key of the song.
Right. Yes.
And if you really do take the time to do that and really do it, it can really be incredible.
Yeah.
It really can. Versus the Ringo approach, which is like, let's put a blanket literally on top of the whole drum set.
Right.
And that's where I think I love
that.
I love it. Yeah. And then it doesn't really matter. I feel like you can either go super detailed, really getting that orchestral kind of, you're tuning the songs in C, the drums are in, I think if the songs are in C, then the drums are in something else.
Yeah, you usually be behind the fourth and the fifth or something like that. I don't know.
See, that's Greek to me.
Okay.
But I think to get like a really good kind of Ringo kind of sound, which is an incredible sound, it's way less work. Way less work.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to go for a specific pitch, I know that there's the drum bot or something like that. I think it's called. I have one that it will measure the frequency that you're getting off the.
Oh.
So that is a tool that is
Cool.
out there if you're going for a particular pitch.
Yeah.
And
I've never heard about that. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're more just, I'm doing it by hand at finger tight and then start tightening with the drum key until you feel like the drum is speaking to you.
Until you're like, okay, this sounds good. It's not too low. It's not too high. You're kind of in that Goldilocks zone of you could live with that sound and that feeling, how it feels.
Right.
Are you able to feel good playing it, And then
it's going to respond to your hit, I guess, bounce back and all this.
Totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
what about the bottom head?
Yeah. So
'Cause
I
that's-
typically like the bottom heads a little bit higher
Okay.
for some reason. I don't know.
Tighter?
I just ever so slightly.
Okay. So close to the same tension.
Close to the same.
pitch, but a little bit high.
Yeah. And I like tuning really low.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm kind of a low tuner kind of person.
Right.
I don't know. Just kind of always worked for me. And I think I kind of like more 70s kind of thuddy kind of drum tones.
Yeah. There's so many ways to go on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
There is a good book out there that Audio Engineering Society actually published it, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a really detailed book about drum tuning.
Yeah.
Which I recommend. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Rarefied Recording.
Oh, that's me. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my studio, Rarefied Recording, and the services I offer there. The studio itself was built from the ground up, from the masterful plans of Mr. Wes Lachaux, so it sounds fantastic both in the control room and the live room. A 32-channel Neve Genesis console holds center court and is complemented by a wide array of outboard gear, instruments, and microphones. Your music will be in good company. If you live in the San Diego area, just head on over to rarefiedrecording.com to learn more and book a tour. If you aren't lucky enough to live in San Diego, you can also hear examples of my mixing work. That's RAREFIED recording.com. And now back to the episode.
If you can do drum tuning well, and engineer, you can be a titan of industry. Mm-hmm. Seriously, you can be, and it's like, I know the people who are, and it's like, if you're going to be an engineer and you're also a drummer, and if somebody can come to you and be like, I have these songs and you can play the drums and record it, you are in, I think, in probably one of the better places of the music industry, like as a producer, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you have a lot of
options. It's a superpower.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of drummers have learned to become engineers so that they can just have their own little kind of service where they just play drums in your songs.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah.
That's amazing.
So when you tune drums, do you tune the bottom head first and then the top? Or
I like, let's say you're starting from total scratch, I do one head and I'm like, okay, I like that. Mm-hmm. And then move on to the next one. Okay. But yeah, it's a little hard to tune a drum that has two heads on it at the same time, because you don't totally know what you're like listening for and looking at. And for that reason, I love concert toms. And so concert toms are those drums that don't have a bottom head.
Right.
And I don't know, for some reason,
they're not going to resonate as long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the decay is really, really quick.
Yeah.
But what's also really cool is you could put the mic right inside.
Yeah.
And it's how you get that really incredible kind of like Queen, just those hyper isolated drum tones.
The mic is in there. And it's all the cymbals are blocked.
Oh my God. It's the Stevie Wonder drum tones. That's like him playing the drums. He's like the best drummer ever. Incredible. So they sound so good. But then I feel like in the 80s, it was like not cool. It's weird. It's like they never really came back.
Yeah, they're not very popular.
Yeah.
I would love to
I recorded the last Wild Wild Wets. I can't say my own band's name. Yeah. Wild Wild Wets.
Yes.
The last record we did, I did half the record with it was like a 50s concert tom Ludwig set. It was totally beat. It had been in a flood. They were in that flood.
Oh, at K Street? Wow.
Yes.
Oh, man.
And I used them, and they were all insanely out of round. The best toms.
Wow.
The
cool.
best. Incredible sound. Incredible sound.
So just put your drums in a flood.
Yeah.
Let them soak up a lot of water, then dry them out.
Everything. Everything that I've said so far, it should be mentioned that I recorded a record with drums that were in a flood underwater, and I didn't really do that much to resurrect them. I just kind of cleaned them off, and I was like, all right, they're a little out of round, and they sounded so good.
Wow.
So
That's
good.
Great.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
There's no
anything.
Rules. Yeah.
Recording, drum tuning. Okay, we did talk a little bit about wood types. I mean, there is some differences in sound, right, between birch, maple.
Yeah, huge.
What's the things you've noticed?
Okay, well, birch in the studio is really nice. I really like birch drums in the studio. Mm-hmm. I do like maple drums. I do.
What do you think is the sound difference between these?
Maple is sharper. It's been kind of like the it wood of drums for a good while now. Mm-hmm. And there's good things I think about maple. It's not hypercritically endangered the way a lot of other woods are, which I think is best for the earth.
Yeah, that's a consideration.
If we kind of make a few sacrifices here and there.
Yeah.
Do we really need African babinga and stuff? I'm like, this is, that is kind of some high conflict sort of situation there that you
conflict
get into.
Woods.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, maple is good, but I think birch is really nice. Birch is a very, very beautiful word. Also very relatively abundant.
Mm-hmm. What's the difference in sound there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, maple can be really sharp
Okay.
and very loud. It's kind of the difference between a spruce guitar top and a cedar guitar top. Cedar sounds broken in immediately. Birch, I think, has the same quality with drums. A new birch set can sound a little broken in.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think it's a bit of a softer sound. It just records really, really nice. Really nice. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Vistalites, I've tried the most exciting live drum set to play on earth. And I brought in a Little Rogers jazz kit to a studio and then got this huge sound out of this Little Rogers jazz kit and then brought in my huge Vistalites, which are like my big rock drums.
Right.
And I'm going with the drums. They sound cool.
Yeah.
They sound good. I'm going to use them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vistalites in the studio. I don't know,
Huh.
Have you ever heard that Vistalites in the studio? Yeah. Not so great.
I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
The glass kits, the
I know
clear
they are. I
ones.
just can't recall exactly. I think I've recorded some, but
Yeah,
I don't have a strong memory of, oh yeah, that was awesome or that sucked.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. They can sound really cool, but the Vistalites' true purpose in life is to play live.
Okay.
That is what they are for.
Okay. They look cool.
They look so unbelievably
Yeah.
cool, and they're so incredibly exciting.
Are they louder?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're insanely loud, and that's what they're for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Now
yeah,
you mentioned size. You had the Little Rogers and the big Vistalite. Size is part of, like, you can get the small little jazz kit, the big. What are your thoughts about the different sizes of a drum kit?
I think that small things can sound huge. That's what I think. I think like some of the most like incredible like bass drum sounds that I've encountered have been from like a 20-inch bass drum.
Yeah.
And with the right miking and everything.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll be like, ooh, we're going to get this huge bass drum sound with this huge bass drum.
Right.
And that doesn't totally work out the same way. It can
Yeah. They can be real floppy.
be real floppy. It's almost like a paper bag.
Yeah.
And I feel like, there's that kind of Bonham-esque way that you can tune your drums, tune your big, giant 26-inch bass drums. And it's almost like you kind of got to tune them kind of like a big band kind of drum. I feel if you are going for a huge, deep sound from that 26-inch bass drum, that's where tuning is really critical.
yeah.
Tuning on a 26 is, you kind of got to be good at tuning
Right.
to have one of those.
Yeah. It can get real out of control.
Yeah.
If you do it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've experienced some really wacky big
Yeah.
bass drums. Yeah.
But I think like size, you'll be amazed by the amount of power and depth that can come from like a 20-inch kick
Yeah.
drum.
Kind of like guitar amps. I mean,
Totally.
studios often just employ these little combo amps
Little combo
and make them
amps.
sound huge.
Huge.
It's like, it's about the miking and the way
It's
you-
about the miking,
Yeah.
yeah. So size is interesting because it's like I've seen crazy loud punk shows where somebody was playing a tiny jazz kit, but it was like mic'd really nicely,
Mhm.
and it was incredible how much depth and power and honestly the bass drum had literal bass
Yeah.
from an 18 or 20-inch kick. So
Yeah.
yeah, with sizes, I don't know. I think it's kind of all bets are off. It's kind of
It's about the tuning, sounds like, and the
yeah,
miking.
it's about the tuning, yeah. But like the set that I used this last weekend when we played, I brought like a little jazz kit out. I did tea towels on all the toms. And like the bass drum, it's like this little Rogers kit. And it's like when you're playing it just kind of by itself, it's not a whole lot to notice necessarily.
Right.
And you put a mic in front of it and it's incredible. And it's powerful. And I literally like kind of feel like you can respond or you can kind of judge the response of I feel like people really respond to like a bass drum.
Yeah.
And sometimes like before the show starts, I'll kind of just be like, "Pff," and then just kind of be like,
Look
how
for-
did people respond? And they always respond to that drum like really positively,
That's cool. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
My first concert was Metallica.
Yeah.
Metallica.
I just remember.
That's a good first concert.
Yeah. I just remember them.
What year was that?
This would be in the 90s.
Oh,
Black Album era.
the golden age.
Yeah. I just have this.
I mean, a little post Golden Age,
Yeah,
but
depends who you
they
talk
were
to.
still
It's still cool.
They were still firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I just remember the initial hits of the drum when they were just like, I don't know, getting a sound, just make sure it's good, and it was so insane.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was a big outdoor arena or whatever. It just was like, it just is like a lasting
Oh,
impression.
Metallica.
What about going into cymbals?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about cymbals?
Wow, we haven't even got to cymbals.
Yeah, because cymbals are a big factor, and I'm just thinking about the things that can go bad with cymbals, like keyholing.
Yeah. Cymbals are the most critical part about this whole thing. Cymbals are huge. And in a way, it's like a drum you can kind of take on, like a drum project, and be like, I'm going to do this, that, or the other thing to this drum. Obviously, that's way harder to do on a cymbal. It's like a cymbal is kind of stuck the way that you have it.
You can polish it, I hear. That might make it brighter.
Yeah, but that's not like doing. You can't. Repairing a damaged cymbal is possible, and I do this.
Okay.
Where you can take a cut area or a damaged area of a cymbal and literally cut it out and do so in the least invasive way that you can manage.
Yeah.
And I've had success with it. Made good sounding cymbals come out of it.
Okay.
But yeah, cymbals are critical. Like a bad sounding cymbal can ruin a recording.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm always listening for a cymbal that's annoying me.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we change that cymbal?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can sound real clangy.
Yeah.
They can sound real clangy. I do love old Zildjians. Ludwigs and Zildjians. I mean,
classic.
I've played the field. I've gone. I feel like the Ludwig and Zildjian is just kind of like a solid.
We've all heard it for so many years.
Yeah, it's
records.
good.
Yeah,
it's good. I feel like there's like, you ever have that kid back in the day where it's okay, Nintendo's better than Genesis, but there was always that kid who's, I'm a Genesis kid, and he just tries to make it work.
Yeah,
but it's like those games are just aren't as good. And I feel like Sabian is kind of Genesis.
Yeah,
I feel like Zildjian is Nintendo and Sabian is Genesis.
Istanbul.
Yeah, PlayStation or Paiste is definitely PlayStation. And I Paiste 2002s.
Okay.
Everybody goes through a phase where that's their favorite cymbal.
Okay.
Lord knows I did.
Okay.
I went through a big Paiste 2002 phase where you're just like, oh my God, this is incredible. It's
what
of
are
like
those like? I don't really know.
so insanely bright and I would say very, very showy. They want themselves to be heard and known. You know, Zildjians, I feel like have that magic way of being the person in like the party who's mingling and doing really well and having a great time, but not drawing so much attention to themselves. Paiste 2002s can be like Tom Green, like all of a sudden he's jumping in a fish tank and no other comedian wants to play a show with them. Like no other cymbal wants to play with a Paiste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I went through a phase where you love them, but then you kind of look back on your Paiste 2002 phase and you're like, man, I might have been going through some stuff. But yeah, they're very bright. But once again, Vistalites and 2002s, Paiste 2002s, an incredible live experience.
Okay. Yeah.
Of in your face, kind of bombastic.
Loud,
you know,
loud and bright.
Yeah, that's like very Zeppelin. But in the studio, I have a few old Ks that just seem to always kind of work. I've had them forever.
Yeah, Zildjian K line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. I have some of those.
Yeah. Zildjian A's, if you get some Zildjian A's, you'll be so stoked. Just even the bass kind of line.
Yeah. And there's a lot of boutique cymbal manufacturers now too. And
yeah.
Same with drums, of course.
Istanbul. There's tons. And a lot of them are the story of cymbal making and the history of cymbal making is fascinating. Fascinating. The oldest company of any sort that has ever manufactured anything is a cymbal company from Wuhan, China. And they're just called Wuhan.
Right. Wuhan.
And they've been making cymbals continuously in this area of Wuhan for, if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna throw out a number. I swear to God, it's like
fact check this guy.
3,500 years.
Whoa!
But I don't know. Might want to check in on that and see if it's a little longer. I think it's
the monks.
Yeah, fascinating.
We can fact check that, but that is very interesting.
Yeah, like metallurgy. It's like an oldest.
The Bronze Age, the whatever age.
Yeah.
I guess it goes back to that.
And then and then the story of Zildjian, if I'm not mistaken, they were actually an Armenian family in Turkey, came to America, and have been making. They're in a way, it's like Frederick Martin came to America and made Martin guitars here, and the Zildjian family came to America, made Zildjian cymbals here. Zildjian and Sabian were originally one family.
Oh, wow.
Split. This is a rough approximation of
Nike and
this
Adidas.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, we can get a whole other podcast. But what about the problems that you can have with cymbals? Like I mentioned, keyholing. What's that?
Yeah. I mean, I have some great cymbals that have keyholes.
So that's when like it's just kind of worn down in one area in the center.
It's in the stand. Yeah, if it's on the stand. So typically, the way you prevent keyholing is by having a little washer,
like plasticky piece. Yeah.
Yeah. And then and something I am not too particular about this kind of stuff.
Okay.
On my ride cymbal, I practice bad cymbal kind of stand. It's like whatever. To me, it's like kind of a stand is a stand. But that being said, like the point of contact that cymbal is making on that stand, it does kind of make sense that you would want that to be like relatively clean.
Yeah.
And where the cymbal's not rattling against
anything.
anything.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. If you don't have things right there, you're hearing rattling when you hit the cymbal.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually it's because it needs that little piece of plastic or something like that.
Yeah, but you listen to the old Who recordings, and did Keith Moon be like, I'm going to put this little washer here? No, absolutely not. So you can hear that on old recordings, but hey, I've literally played with that rattle. You know what I mean? Because in a way that can kind of have a percussive element to it. And it's kind of in the way it's like a rivet can kind of have a thing. The cymbal can kind of jangle all over the place and it can have a rhythm. And in that case, what's the problem?
No problem. Just go with it. Make it part of your sound.
Totally.
Okay, one more topic I want to talk about is the treatments that you can do in a studio. Gels, dampeners, towels, tape. Yeah. What do you like? What do you think about that?
This is, I think, the hugest kind of part of like focusing in a drum sound. And this is where I feel like I've personally had like the most kind of success. And how do I say this? Kind of like I've been able to personalize something that kind of works for me and being able to repeat it.
Yeah.
Which is, like when you're playing shows is kind of important. And so like when I'm going out, and especially like if you're playing with like a bunch of bands or whatever, I always bring, my wife is a sewist, so she makes her own clothes and makes clothes for the whole family.
Nice.
And she always has scraps of like really cool material.
Yeah.
And so I take like some sewing scraps, I kind of cut them into a rough shape, and then I go to like Office Depot or order them online. The smallest binder clip that you can find.
Okay.
The little alligator kind of binder clips. That would go on like a manila envelope or something.
Okay.
And then clip the towels, the sewing scrap, whatever, to the drum.
Okay. The
with
rim?
those binder on the boom. You're so stoked.
Boom.
And then you can kind of like roll it up, and it's almost kind of like you're rolling up like a wind, like a blind of a window to kind of like let the amount of light in that you want. You can kind of like throttle it up and down that way.
Okay.
And and I think like at this show I just did this last weekend, which was a very low volume, everybody wore a dress shirt and tried not to sweat, which was kind of unusual for that day. We really tried to go like way down, and I put the tea towels on the set, and it just had the really nice kind of Abbey Road kind of feel.
Yeah. And that was the Ringo would put tea towels on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you play with that amount.
How much is
like
covering the
can, drum? One of my favorite drum sounds, Can.
The band Can? Yeah. German. Yeah.
And it's easy to achieve that. Amy Winehouse's Rehab. This is a subject that's been explored at length.
And spectacle here.
Those drums were recorded basically with one SM57.
Okay.
And one SM57 and kind of like a room mic.
Okay.
And, that it was all about drum treatment. Concert toms and heavily dampened.
Yeah.
And you want kind of like anti-decay
Right.
You know?
That's what they'll do. Yeah, is they'll take away a lot of decay out.
Yeah. And decay, I think, is something like if you have really honed in that tone of that drum and you're really trying to get a tone, like a pitch out of it or something like that. Yeah, you want to like embrace that decay and it can be really amazing.
Yeah.
Or you can just kill it completely and kind of just like work with the kind of like boom bapness of it kind of.
Totally different sound. Yeah.
And I feel like the boom bapness, it'll work. Like it'll work.
You got to see what you're looking for your music. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. The big wide open drum sound, it's way more labor intensive.
Your music has to have the space for that, I feel like.
Yeah.
The tempos have to be right.
It can be very intentional, but in today's modern age, I can't remember a time I was afforded that luxury to be able to like spend that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're into the tea towels, but have you used other products, gels, the super?
Yeah, I've used them all.
The fat super. What's it called? The fat snare
super
drum.
fat snare drum.
Yeah,
Gaffer
I do
tape.
like that thing. I find
big fat snare drum.
Yeah, that thing is awesome. It does
Yeah.
sound really good. I've had my stick get caught in it,
Oh, whoa.
and then I'm like holding up the bass.
Yeah.
It's like almost like one of those old timey ring games where you're like holding the stick. And so I feel like the tea towels kind of achieve the same effect because that's essentially what it is. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
putting weight on it.
Yeah, the ones I have, it's almost like another drum head that you're putting on top of your drum head. It's kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Instead of a cloth material, it's almost like a drum head material.
Yeah.
And it definitely does get rid of all the weird resonances and adds mass to the head. So it does feel like it lowers the pitch usually of your snare drum, let's say you put it on.
Yeah.
Which can be good or bad depending on what you're going for. Mm-hmm. And there's ones with a big hole in the middle and ones that are completely just covered, no hole. Yeah. And then between different amounts of donating.
Totally.
If you will. So
yeah.
It's kind of cool. You can try different things and see what's working.
Yeah. Yeah, that I always felt back in the day it would be like, okay, put the little moon gel, and I was like, that is just not enough. I feel like I could use like a pound of that moon gel on one drum or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like the tea towel, and I also feel like it's like when I play live, I like in my cymbal bag, I just have some nice sewing scraps and binder clips.
Okay.
You know, and if I'm using a backline kit, I feel like right then and there, I can like really quickly and easily kind of make it my own a little bit and make it where I'm like comfortable with it. Because sometimes I get up there and I'll be like, these, to me, like if somebody has their toms like wide open, I'll be like, this just feels absolutely wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, and I also feel like from the drummer's perspective, if you mute things a little bit, you're going to be able to monitor, I think, everybody else a lot more. You'll be having way less of yourself.
Yeah.
Something to be said about that.
Right.
Yeah.
The gels also are annoying because they get sticky.
They're disgusting.
Yeah, and they lose their stickiness.
It's like the Nickelodeon gack.
They leave stuff on the heads.
Yeah.
And I've had sometimes where they'll make a little weird pingy sound sometimes. I've noticed that it's not working.
Yeah.
So,
I like gaffer tape and towels.
Yes.
Okay.
Paper towels.
Paper towels.
Paper towels and gaffer tape.
Boom.
Totally.
It's cheap solution.
For a long time, what I did is gaffer tape and towels, and I would do two kind of sections, kind of look like bandages. And then, you ever see that thing where you take the tape and you do a shark fin type of thing? And I saw somebody do this once, and I just kind of did that for...
Makes it easier to pull it off, I think, just having that little shark fin on top.
It was almost like a frequency was going to be like diffused through that little shark fin of duct tape. I made these little duct tape kind of fins. I don't know how to describe them other than that, but yeah. There's a few different ways, but I feel like I've played the field, and I do think that the tea towels and the binder clips are the fastest way to salvation.
Okay. Just another pretty DIY solution too.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's about all the questions I had.
Cool.
I don't know, Brian, you got anything you dying to know about drums?
I'd say we didn't touch on cymbals enough. We could keep talking about this for literally 1,000 years, but I do think cymbals are such a critical thing. I feel like something that you can't change about a recording afterwards. You can kind of literally do that to drums.
Yeah,
like
they
cymbals,
drum replacements definitely have technology.
Which I've never.
I don't. Like
I'm
to
gonna
do it,
get my head cut off for saying this, but I think drum replacement is. God, whenever I've heard it on something, I've never been okay with it on anything that I did myself.
Yeah.
I feel like all of a sudden it just didn't sound
like you.
Yeah. It didn't feel like the memory of that experience of playing.
I understand.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of a little bit subtracts the subtleties of your playing.
Totally.
And of course the tone of your drums that you liked, obviously. You made it sound a certain way. So
I think like on a kick drum, that's maybe okay. I'll be like, okay, wait, let's like layer a sample with the kick drum. Because the kick drums
sometimes you need to. Yeah.
Really kind of more of a it's either happening or it's not sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like the touch and the feel of the sticks, like I've always heard it and just been like that this feels foreign.
Right.
Or just kind of like I feel like I'm talking to a robot who's pretending to be human. Which is maybe there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. There's time and place for these things, types of music. And
but cymbals, I would say, are such a critical choice.
Yeah.
And you just have to like play the field. You'll have a bunch of cymbals that you won't like forever, and then you'll finally find a few that you do. And it's like I've had the same set of hi-hats for probably like 20 years now.
Yeah.
And they work for everything. And they're kind of just in that like Goldilocks zone of cymbals.
Right.
And but yeah, it's like they sit in every recording.
Yeah, because they have a frequency sort of. I don't say they have a pitch, but they do have an emphasis in a certain area. Every cymbal. So it's if they're in the wrong area, they're gonna kind of cover up the vocal, or they're gonna, they can be bad.
Yeah.
Harshness. Yeah. So that's like I said, something that I'm always listening for when recording drums is like, how are the cymbals sounding? Is there any one of them that needs to be nixed? Because I hate that.
Yeah, and that's something you'd want to make a decision on while it's happening. That's a way harder.
Yeah, it's hard to change later.
Fix it in post sort of thing. I'm sure it could be done, but
because there's like the dark and washy, there's the bright and short. Sometimes you want one or the other.
Yeah,
and then there's things that are in between that.
And I do cymbal mutes all the time. Cymbal mutes. I love a cymbal mute.
Like just grabbing it after you play it, or
no, the same way like a cymbal treatment.
Okay,
so I put a sewing scrap straight up on the cymbals.
Sure.
I don't know because I feel like it really helps. I think like the vocals.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying is that they can really cover the vocals sometimes.
Cymbals and vocals are eternal adversaries, and I feel like if you are able to tame the cymbal, and man, this last weekend, my friend who plays with me in the Wets, Jason Crane, we were doing this kind of special set rehearsals over at his house, and he had this Constantinople, like unbelievable 20-inch, and I felt like I could play Madison Square Garden with this one cymbal.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It was absolutely incredible. Like the shimmer was incredible, but then you could pick right back up. You could
the way you hit it,
and bead, and just everywhere you went on it was just incredible.
Yeah, that's what's cool about cymbals is you can hit them in different ways, and you can hit them in different spots, and they sound different. And if you really know what you're doing, you can get multiple sounds out of one cymbal.
But then I've heard other ones from that same series. Every cymbal is different. I almost feel like this is a this type of cymbal, this is a that type of cymbal. I feel like you can get like consistency throughout cymbals is pretty.
You gotta
pretty
go
all over the place.
You gotta go to the store and audition it when you buy cymbals. That's the only way I've ever bought a cymbal.
I think you can't to play it safe. You can get a like Zildjian A's.
Sure. Okay.
Medium thin.
Yeah.
And you'll almost be guaranteed to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else is a total free for all.
Yeah. Go to the store, try them out, see what speaks to you.
Yeah. But then, man, even picking a cymbal out at a cymbal store is one of the most confusing things.
That's true. You're in a weird environment, I guess. Yeah. Well, thanks again for coming back on, David Mead. Again, Magnetic Heaven is your entity that you operate under, mostly for guitar teching.
Yeah.
But I suppose you
But
might.
hey, I'm
Yeah.
totally available for drum teching.
Yeah.
And if you want your drums to sound a certain way before you're going into the studio, explain to me what you want
Uh-huh.
and I'll get you there.
Cool.
You know what I mean? And I can get you there with any set.
I
you know.
assume this would be a service you'd offer in San Diego, California, maybe not too many
Yeah.
other places.
I've done it in LA.
Okay.
I've totally done teching in LA.
Sure,
Like
okay.
drum. Honestly, I've done a pretty good amount of like studio teching in LA.
Nice.
A lot of drums are recorded in LA.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Magnetic Heaven, though, you can find him on Instagram and your reverb shop. You sell drums sometimes on your reverb
Yeah.
shop? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. If you're looking for something specific, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have it, I'll find it for you.
Right
The
on.
intention of somebody telling me that they want something causes it to appear.
That's right.
It's
Awesome.
true.
Yeah. That's crazy how the world works.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. That's our show for today, folks. Thanks so much for listening to Prepping for the Studio. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen to your podcast from. And don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends. Episode info and my ebook, A Musician's Guide to the Recording Studio, are available at preppingforthestudio.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out there. Prepping for the Studio was recorded and edited at Rarefied Recording by me, Roy Silverstein. Theme music written by myself and Ariel Levine. Performed and recorded by Ariel Levine. Many thanks to my co-host Brian Scheuble and you. Best of luck to you and your musical endeavors. And remember, as Alexander Graham Bell once said, before anything else, preparation is the key to success. We'll see you next time.